But yeah, Marcus Wolf from Ultimate Man Project.
Thanks, man. All right, what's up, guys? So yeah, my name's Mark. So a little bit about myself. So this speech is going to be basically on sort of how to build a connection, and I'll go into that in a sec. But that's all good. Don't worry about the prep. Yeah, we don't need that. It's fine. So essentially, I've been a coach with Elite Social Skills for the last few years. So a lot of you guys, I'm sure, probably haven't heard of it. It's a sort of Sydney-based company. So there was a bit of sort of media scrutiny and sort of some legal issues that went on. So the group has actually been taken down, and the guy that sort of founded it has moved on. So now we started a new company called sort of Ultimate Man Project. So it's currently Pierre, Alex. Where's Alex at? Yep, there we go. Woo, Alex, yeah. So don't worry about it. I won't need it, it's fine. So basically I want to talk about building a connection. So when I was sort of asked to speak at this conference, I was kind of thinking about what I should talk about. And at first I kind of selfishly thought what I'm kind of good at game. And I kind of spoke to my mates and guys in sort of the pickup community. And I said, what should I talk about? And so at first I kind of thought about like, group sets or dealing with like LMR and making girls sort of comfortable with sex, or like storytelling and sort of building frames. But then I kind of went a bit deeper and thought, why the fuck are you guys here, right? Why did you pay the money, the time? Why did you come out here? What do you actually want to learn? What do you actually want to know, right? So I started with why. And I went a bit deeper and I kind of thought, why do we all start in game, right? Like, why did we get into it? Why do we want to be here? And typically when you ask someone like why you're in game, you tend to get this very like superficial response of like, yeah, it's for the bitches, it's for sex. That's how we kind of like quickly respond to it. But I think if we all kind of put our ego aside and kind of imagine a night where you kind of go out, you might be walking past and see a girl that like looks at you and she looks fucking like adorable, she's beautiful. And you go up and you want to speak to her. And you start chatting and she's like super receptive. She's really nice, she's giving you like puppy dog eyes. And you start building a connection with her, right? You start getting to know her. You maybe like take her for a drink, or like if you're a PUA, you take her for a water. And that's right, never buy a girl a drink. So you take her for a water and you're sitting there and you actually start to getting to know her, right? And her beliefs, her values are similar than yours. You start to really think like, this girl's amazing, right? I'm really starting to like her. And so you take her over, you take her to the couch and you isolate her from her friends. And you start talking a bit more. And the more you speak to her, the more you realize that this is the type of girl that you want in your life. This is the type of girl that you like, right? She starts getting a bit flirtatious with you. She comes a bit closer. You escalate a little. You kiss her on the neck. You start making out. And it feels good, right? And then maybe you start seating the pool. You tell her that you're going to split a bottle of wine with her. You're going to come back to your house. And she might give a couple of objections, but she's generally happy with it. She wants to spend more time with you. So now you take her back to the place, and she seems really comfortable. She starts investing more in you. She starts sort of making out with you further. You take her to the bedroom, and you have amazing sex, right? And then the next day you wake up, she takes an Uber home, and you've got a phone number, and you're like, this girl is really fucking cool, right? This is like why I got into game. This is the type of girl I want in my life. This is who I want to spend more time with. And you pick up your phone, you send her a message, and there's no reply. A couple of hours go past, and your phone like finally fucking buzzes, right? You run over to the phone, you open it up, and it's like your mum. Like, fucking, what are you doing? Why have you not called me in a week? And then time goes by, and the next day, you like message her again. There's no reply. And now, depending like what type of guy you are, like you probably message another like 47 times, and still like no reply. And then like a week later, you see her out of the club, and you go up to her and you're like, obviously, like, I wrote her number down wrong. Obviously something went wrong, right? Like, she didn't get my messages. Like, we had such a good time. Like, why would she not want to see me again? And you go up and she kind of dismissively looks at you and like walks off with another guy. And you feel like shit, right? Even though you had sex, you feel like shit. Because this girl that you thought you got to know, that you thought you liked, didn't reciprocate that. And so even though you had sex, even though you got the lay, it didn't make you feel good, right? So the reason why we got into this is not for sex, right? We can imagine the same scenario where like maybe the girl had work at like fucking 5 in the morning, or like maybe she was on a period, unless you're CL, in which case she would just go down on her anyway. He loves it. But if that girl, the same girl, didn't have sex with you, but the next day messaged you and was like, hey, you're really cool. I really like you. I want to see you again. Let's hang out, right? You're going to feel so much better about yourself. You're going to enjoy that interaction way more. And you're going to want to have her in your life and you're going to want to see her again. And even though you didn't have sex in that moment, that's why we're in game. We're in game for the connection. We're in game because we want to share those feelings with others. Is this working out or not? I need this for dot points anyway, so I'm going to keep looking back at it.
Oh.
Hey! So that's me, Alex, and Pierre. I don't know how we got that working, but
I did nothing.
now you're just going to have me up there the whole time. So talking about connections, I want to make this talk a little bit interactive. So I want everyone to stand up, and I'm going to test out your game, right? We're all here to like better ourselves. We're all here to be good at game. So I want everyone to stand up, and I want you to find someone. It doesn't matter if you know them or not, but find someone that's not sitting directly near you. I want you to open them, and I want you to chat for like 1 minute, and then I want you to qualify them. Everyone knows what qualifying is, right? I want you to tell them one thing you like about them, and I want that person to reciprocate it back, and then we're going to talk about this later in my talk. So I'll give you 2 minutes. I want you to go open. If you've got approach anxiety, it's okay. No one's going to get rejected today. So go up, open someone, qualify them, and then come back and sit down. 2 minutes. Go for it. All right, everyone give a quick hand to Chris Wild. He just number closed me. Well done. Well done. I'll see you later. All right, so quick hands up. Who got a qualification that was based on something more superficial, based on maybe like your looks, like nice shirt, nice shoes, nice nipple ring? Hands up if you received something based on something superficial. All right, now hands up if you received something based on something a little deeper, like your personality trait. Maybe like you seem fun, you seem cool, you seem really friendly. All right, it's not bad. It's about 50-50. All right. So we're going to come talk about that later. So back to the slide about what the fuck am I talking about, right? So I really believe in finding out about your why. So I don't know if anyone's heard like Simon Sinek. He did a talk when it comes to business about really finding your why. And basically what he talks about, I don't know if you can get up this circle here, but he basically talks about once you find out your why in business, you're really like, that was that part. Well done, guys. So once he talks about your why in business, he really talks about finding like your core motivation, like why you're there. So yeah, here you go. So there's like the why, the how, and the what, right? So a lot of times people in business, they'll really focus on like how they do things and what they do, but they don't really focus on why they do it. So he doesn't talk about really finding about sort of satisfaction in what you do by really looking at why you want to do it. And I feel like it's the same in dating. We really need to take a step back and remember like why we're here. Like why are we coming to this summit? Why did we get into the game? What do we want to accomplish? And it's something we really focus on in boot camps. It's like, why are you here? You know what I mean? Like it's easy to get guys good at game. It's easy to get guys over a few insecurities, but it's like, why are you really here in game? And so that's what I wanted to focus my talk on. And if there's one thing that's common amongst all our students, it's they want to build a connection. And it's whether they know it or not. Like, you tend to get two groups of guys in boot camps. You tend to get the one group that is like, their social skills are pretty good. They're usually good in business. They usually have a pretty like happy life. Their childhood was pretty good. There's not too many sort of insecurities that they have, but they're just very open-minded. They're very like independent dudes that are like, yeah, I want to get better with women, right? Like, they've probably had a few girlfriends before. They've probably dated around a little bit. But they're like, I just want to get better at this. I'm just open-minded about it. I want to get better, right? And then there's the other set of guys that you probably see more. that have got some sort of past trauma. Maybe they've been like abandoned. Maybe you've been bullied in school. Maybe turn your fucking phone on. I'm kidding. Maybe girls are treated like shit in the past, and so they have these like deep insecurities, like victim mentalities and things like that, like identity issues. And so the one commonality between both these groups is that at the end of the day, we want to be happy in our dating lives. We want to find fulfillment. We want to find success. And looking back at sort of every student we've seen, looking back at my own kind of experience and journey, the one thing that I think has common in everything is that once you find the ability to build connections with women, it really is a pinnacle of what I call game. It's a real pinnacle of like finding success in your dating life and having options and sort of being happy in that. I want to talk about what connection actually is. So I put this slide up here, sort of attraction versus connection, because I think they're very different. A lot of guys that are good in game are really good at like getting girls attracted, right? They're really good at spiking emotions. They're really good at sort of building compliance and investment. They're really good at sort of in a game, the technical part, and like they get these girls that are really sort of attracted to them. But the issue is like when I sort of spoke about that first sort of scenario where the girl is like, you're really fucking into you at first, and then she goes home and she doesn't message you the next day, right? Like who here has been flaked on before? And everyone better put their fucking hands up, otherwise you're lying. Everyone's been flaked on. It's not a good feeling. And the reason is there's not this like long-lasting connection. There's no sort of attachment to yourself. So yeah, we can build like these fleeting kind of emotions of attraction that the girl kind of, you and the girl feel, but the next day they kind of subside. Like sometimes, yeah, it's good enough. It is sometimes. But a lot of the time it isn't. Like the girl needs to feel that connection with you. And so what is connection, right? It's a kind of a buzzword, right? But if you imagine everyone in your life that you kind of associate that word with, right? Like think right now, think of someone that you feel connected to, right? It's probably someone that you've, spent a lot, like how you guys hold hands there. It's kind of someone that you spend a lot of time with, and they know your true self. So they know a lot about you. They know your insecurities. They know sort of who you are, and you know who they are, and you're both happy with that, right? But that takes a lot of time. And it's time that you typically don't have when you're going out for one night. So how do you build this connection? How do you build this emotional tie with a girl when you only have a few hours? Usually it takes days, weeks, months, sometimes years for some people, right? So how do you really build this tie and connection with someone so that they wake up the next day and they want to fucking message you. They wake up and they're excited. They wake up and they want to fucking spend time with the person that you are. So how do you fucking do it, right? There's a few steps along the way. The first one is you need to build social skills. So a lot of guys come on program and they're kind of like, yep, I want a girlfriend. I want a wife. That's my why. That's what I want, right? It's perfect. It's refreshing to hear. But the problem is these guys have maybe been with one girl before. They don't know what the fuck they want, right? They've never had that experience. So it's hard to really know what you want, or more like specifically what you don't want, where your boundaries are, when you haven't experienced anything before. So it's really important to build up your social skills. It's really important to have those experiences and those references to actually know what you're fucking into and know what you're not. Thanks, brother. So in this sense, I want to talk about sort of outer game versus inner game, and like, I feel like in the community, this is like one of the most debated topics. And like for me, I'm very much like an outer game coach. I very much love the technical side of game. And I know others aren't. Others are very much inner game. And if I'm honest, even coming from an outer game point of view, for sure inner game is the most important thing. It is. If you're not comfortable with yourself, if you're not grounded, then there's no fucking way you're going to have like a happy relationship with anybody, right? And when I say relationship, like there's some guys here that want a girlfriend, want to get married. There's some guys here that want like a polygamous relationship. There's some guys that just want a lot of casual relationships. This all applies to the above. Building connection is super important for all of them if you want to be successful. But the important thing is that you need to have social calibration, right? It's great to have good inner game. It really is. Like you need it. It's essential. But if you're the type of guy that is just like super confident but has no idea what the fuck you're doing with women, has no idea about social interactions, then it's not going to work. You need both. And so, yeah, you can click, man. So I want to talk, nice butt. I want to talk about one of my mates here. And I want to give you a little story and analogy about why Outergame is important. So this is a guy so we booked a trip to Melbourne. I was doing some coaching there, some infield, Melbourne, Australia. And one of the guys dropped out last minute, and so we had a spare ticket. And there was this 18-year-old kid that came to one of our group meetups in Sydney. And he was super cool, super fun, and we kind of took a warming to him. And so we said, man, come along with us. We'll take you under our ring. One of our buddies ended up having him as an intern in his company. And this was a guy that has the best fucking inner game I've ever seen in my life. Next level legit. This guy got off a flight and acted like it was the best thing that has ever happened to him in his life. I was uncomfortable as shit, trying to sleep. And it was man, that flight was amazing. It was the best. And we get out to Melbourne, it's fucking shit weather. It's raining and it's overcast. He's man, I love this. It's what the fuck, man? This guy was just happy and positive the entire time. But he was a virgin. Don't laugh, so CL, all right? So he'd never been with a girl before, right? He had no real experience. He just recently got into the scene of game. He wanted to improve himself. Good on him, right? And he grew up in a really supportive family. He had this really amazing life, and he had no insecurity. He loved himself, and he really believed that, but he just had no social awareness. So we took him out the first night, and we're fuck it, we're gonna coach this guy, right? So we take him out, and we pull a bunch of girls to the place, and he ends up having a threesome, and not like a PUA threesome. He had two girls and him. He was pimping her, right? And so he had a threesome with these two girls, and best virginity lost story ever, right? I thought he had good inner game before that, right? The next day he woke up and he literally came out of his room with music playing and just fucking just yeah, just fucking just pimping it, man. It was the best. And so this guy was next level confident. And so he was man, this shit is easy. Little did he know we were the ones that pulled the girls back, but he was this shit is easy. Fucking, you guys run boot camps for this? Bro, fucking, he was I can do this, man. I'll fucking, get me in there. It's fine. And so, super amazing confidence. And so that day I ended up, going out, right? And I pulled this girl back from day game. And me and him were sharing a bed, no homo. We didn't make eye contact. It was just purely sex. And, so we came back. We're, lying in bed together. And so I bring this girl in, and he's, sitting there, right? So I'm all right, he'll get the point. He's going to leave, right? Social calibration, right? Everyone knows here. Fucking be a good wing. Get the fuck out of the room. He sat there the entire time. And I was I pull out my phone. I'm bro, fuck off, please. And then he's so he gets the message. He's oh, sorry, man. He's hey, I'm going to go get some breakfast, right? Walks off downstairs, right? 2 minutes later, guarantee you, 2 minutes. He comes back in the room with the biggest fucking bowl of cereal you've ever seen in your life. He lays back on the bed and he's just yeah, so what have you guys been up to? And I was he literally does not get it, right? Just no social calibration. So then I messaged my mate and I was bro, get out of my room now. Now. So he comes up, he's come with me. So he gets him out of the room and gives us some privacy, right? And then later on I was man, we're doing you a favor here. We're bringing you out to fucking Melbourne. We paid for your trip. We're fucking coaching you. We're trying to help you out. Why are you doing that shit to me? Why didn't you leave the room? He's bro, that girl was into me. That's what he said. He's man, she walked in the room and she was staring me down. He was bro, threesome. And I was man, no social calibration. So then we go out that night. Same thing. I mean, these two Kiwi girls, I'm chatting to him. He comes in, and I was I can't deal, right? I can't deal. So I walk off, I find someone else, I'm having a chat with them. The next day we go out day gaming. I see these two New Zealand chicks again. And I was hey guys, what's up? It's nice meeting you last night. And yeah, your friend messaged me on Snapchat. I was perfect. So I grabbed the phone, I was hey, it was really nice to meet you. You're really cute. Let's hang out sometime. I know I'm a dick, I'm sorry. And then so he messages back, just the address. Nothing else. Just the address. And I was this is gold. So I was all right, time to learn a lesson about social skills, right? So I get the girl's number, and I basically, the whole day, keep telling her what to write back to him, right? And so he legit, like, the girl, I got her to write basically like, hey, I want to hang out, but I just want it to be us two. I don't want Mark there. I specifically said, I don't want Mark there. Don't want any of the boys there, just us two. What do you think he wrote back? Why? He said, nah, fuck that. He's like, bring your friend. He was like, bring your friend. Like, he brings an objection in there, right? Like, so he's like, threesome. Like, he's had one threesome before. Like, 100% success rate. Why not, right? So he's like, bring your friend. And, like, we gave him an out during the day. We were like, Evan, man, do you think there's a chance? Like, a small chance that maybe these girls are just fucking with you for fun, right? Like, maybe they're just messing with you. He's like, nah, bro. He's like, no chance. He's like, this is on. This is fucking gold. So we got all of this, like, 2 hours on infield. Like,
just showed up right now. Would you guys be ready to go? Absolutely.
Tell you what, you gotta set up fucking balls and you
are you actually going to be wearing that when they get here? What a pimp.
Alright, this is going to backfire on you if you get them too positive.
It never does.
It never does. I love the concept.
He's like, 100% of the time, I've managed a threesome. This is easy.
Make sure Mark isn't there. If you're out and about in the city, go to this address on my way. Let me know when you're there. Bring Georgia if you want.
Yeah, what's wrong with Mark? Did you explain why she doesn't like Mark?
I don't know what the beef is on here, but cool. Just curious. Yeah, funny story. Yesterday he brought a girl over and I was cock-blocking the shit out of him, so now he's really mad at me.
Hey bro, I've been messaging him all day.
Yeah?
Hey, lesson learned, right?
Yeah. I knew he'd get me back. I was like, this isn't gonna go. Like, he's not gonna like this.
But the lesson was that even though he had like amazing innergame and he felt like really fucking amazing about himself, like you still need a level of social calibration. You still need social skills. You still need to develop those. And I was actually talking to Alex about this morning, and it's like a lot of people feel this this need where they don't want to change, right? It's like, I just want to be my true self, right? I don't want to learn how to, any of this game shit. You know what I mean? He's like, I just want to be myself. And it's like, you look at every other part of your life, like, you don't say, like when you go to the gym, no, I want to be unhealthy, that's who I am, right? I just want to be myself unhealthy, right? And BJ knows about this. I don't want to go to the gym. Like, no one says that. Like, when you go to uni, people aren't telling you, like, don't go to uni, man. Just be yourself. Be uneducated, right? So it's like, when it comes to game, when it comes to social skills, it's completely fine bettering yourself. It's completely fine learning how to be more social, learning how to be more confident. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't be afraid to change. Know what you want, even though it says screen. So the next step in building a connection is that you really need to know what you're looking for. So the way I went about this, and like if you haven't done this already, then go home tonight and fucking do this right now, is write down exactly what you look for in a girl. And I mean exactly. Like when I did this, I was like, eye color, hair color, type of humor, what's her favorite TV show? Like I built the perfect girl in my head. And her name was CL. If anyone doesn't know, I love CL. So you really need to like put down exactly what you want. And the idea is you're not going to be superficial about this. You're not going to go out and be like, sorry, you're blonde. It's not going to work between us. You might say that, but you don't mean it, right? But the idea is you start to have this idea in your head that you have standards. You start to have this idea in your head that you know what you want. Like when I honestly approach a girl, I'm not going there being like, oh my God, you're super hot, like love me. Like you go up basically saying, yeah, you're attractive. That's why I'm speaking to you right now. Like there's a chemical like thing going on in my fucking brain right now that's like, or maybe down here, I don't know, but like saying like, I fucking think you're hot, right? Does that mean I want to go home with you? No. Does that mean I want to spend all night with you? No. It means that I want to get to know you a bit more until I can figure that out, right? And so that goes into our next point about screening. Perfect. So there's a few different ideas when it comes to like screening for girls. And I will go on a little rant here about Laycount. It will happen. So sometimes people have an idea about screening where it's like, you know, some girls will like you, some girls won't. If you go up and talk to them and they're not into you, then that's fine. Like they just didn't like you anyway. Like not everyone's gonna like you, right? And there's this like PUA mentality where it's like, every girl you approach, you should be fucking pulling, right? Every girl you go up to, you should know how to fucking interact and you should be pulling that girl. which again doesn't make sense. Like you're not gonna have chemistry with everyone. So the truth is actually in the middle, right? If you go up to a girl and she rejects you, yeah, like she might not like you, but what doesn't she like about you, right? It's 20 seconds of that approach. She has data on you for 20 seconds. And you know what? It's biased by every fucking other guy that has come up to her that night that has no fucking game, no social skills, that doesn't fucking leave her alone, right? So what did this girl learn to do? She said, fuck off. This is my boyfriend, my favorite. This is my girlfriend, right? So you can't have that as an excuse. Like sometimes students come back and they're like, she didn't like me. It's like, no, fuck, what are you talking about? She knew 20 seconds of you. Give her a fucking chance, right? So how do you show a girl, or how do you get to know a girl that tells you to fuck off? You basically show her that you're cool. So the way I kind of approach it is if I go up to a girl, and in Sydney, this is going to happen all the time. But like here, it's fucking, the girls are cool. But like Sydney, you're going to get blown out all the time, like when you go up to a girl. And so they're going to tell you to fuck off. They're going to tell you it's a girl's night, whatever, right? And so basically what I want to communicate is like, hey, I get it. I empathize, right? I get it. 9 other guys have come up to you tonight and been super creepy, right? But I'm actually a cool guy. I want to get to know you. And once we get to know each other, then we can find out if we have a connection or not. We can find out if we want to get to know each other more. Now, you're not going to say this. I mean, you can, it probably works. But you want to show it, right? So one way is like self-deprecating, right? So if a girl tells you to fuck, we'll be like, yeah, I get it. I'm not pretty enough, right? Like, fuck, I should probably go to the gym more. And once you kind of shit on yourself, the girls kind of get that you're fun and cool and it's okay, right? The other way is go along with the joke. Be playful. Like, when a girl's like, oh, this is my girlfriend, be like, yeah, I know. She told me you met on Tinder like 6 months ago. You guys are totally in love. It's beautiful. Like, well done. Just join the joke. Join the fucking humor. And after you do this, the girl kind of clicks, right? Like, oh, okay. You're not like the other 9 guys that approached me. You're actually worth getting to see whether I like you or not. And it goes both ways. So once you do that, you can actually, because to be honest, like in Sydney, pretty much all the girls I dated fucking hated me at first. Like, so they told me to fuck off at first, right? But if you just leave every one of those sets, then it's going to be a fucking short night, right? Like, you're going to be left with girls that like just want any guy to come up and like fucking give them attention. Oh man. So the next point in building a connection sounds fucking retarded, but it's actually having a conversation. So this is what I want to talk about Laycount. When you start screening based on sex, it's really corrosive. There's this movement in the community that is like, what's your Laycount, right? And I think it's fucking horrible. There's groups that are like, you need a certain Laycount to fucking make a comment or some shit. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, first of all, like, I think we can all agree, Laycount maybe is a fair indication of like how experienced you are in game. It doesn't mean everything, right? You know, it's I'm sure like a lot of the fucking coaches here and experienced guys can kind of validate that like you kind of have this curve. You kind of start out in game, and you fucking shit, you don't know what the hell you're doing. And you start meeting more and more girls, but you get to a point where you meet these amazing girls and you want to see them again. You want to have them around in your life. And so when it's a Tuesday night and you're like, what the fuck am I going to do tonight? And this amazing, incredible girl that you have a connection with, that you really like, that you have amazing sex with, wants to see you, you're not going to be like, nah, I'm going to fucking try to pull a girl from fucking, you know. You're going to want to see her, right? So you're actually going to sleep with less girls the better you get at this. But you're going to have a more fulfilling life. And so there's one reason why you shouldn't focus on lays. Like when I actually have students and they count, I tell them to stop. We delete their fucking phone history and shit like that, right? The second reason is you sound like, hands up, right? Be honest. Hands up who has told their family and their friends what the fuck they're doing here this week. Like saying, I'm going to pick up summer, right? So that's probably like 20% maybe, right? The hands go down more and more. So it's probably like 20% that have actually told their family and friends, I'm going to pick up fucking summer, right? And the first thing we got told by the organizers was like, fucking keep it on the down low, right? And it's because society isn't ready for this. Society isn't ready to hear a bunch of guys trying to get better in their dating lives, which is fucking retarded because, you know, what's more weird than trying to get better at this is being fucking weird at this, right? Like, you've seen guys go out there and just freak girls out. Like, that's the fucking weird part. Getting good is fucking the right thing to do. But the thing that kind of brings us back is when you have a guy that's like yeah, I'm fucking at 93, right? Like, it's not good for the community. It's not good for us at all. But the last point when it comes to screening is if you meet an amazing girl and you think, oh, she'll work at like 5 in the morning, and you ditch her for some girl that you have no connection with, you're not attracted to, and you just want to sleep with her for a count, like, one, you're not going to get good at this. You're not going to build your social skills. And two, it's not going to make you happy, right? You get this eternal external validation from maybe a mate that you can be like, yeah, fucking 12, yeah, woo. But it's like, it's not going to actually build any real happiness. So that's my like fucking rant on Laycount, is you need to cut that shit. Yeah, woo, yeah. Next one. So the next couple of points, how much time do I have, by the way? I feel like I'm just going to fucking talk forever. So the next 2 points are basically have a conversation, sexualize. So it sounds like but a lot of guys forget to actually get to know the girl. You need to isolate, you need to sit down, you need to actually have a conversation with her, and a part of that is sexualizing it. So some guys will be like, you know, they're new to the game, they're like, no, but I really like this girl, I want to see her again, so I'm not going to have sex with her. Fuck that, right? Girls love sex, right? They do. I was like, yeah, woo! So they do. And the thing is, some girls are going to feel social pressure. They are. They're going to feel like they have these beliefs where maybe they shouldn't have sex with a guy on the first night, right? That's cool. That's her belief. But you should be wanting to have sex with this girl, and you should be expressing that. Because if you don't, then you end up in this like platonic phase, this friend zone. You sound like a little bitch, right? You need to show sexualization. You need to, even if you want to see this girl again, there's no problem. Like every girl that I've like had a sort of continuous relationship or been open with, I've had sex with on the first night. It doesn't disqualify you from anything serious. So always remember to sexualize. Now, I think this is probably the most important thing that I want to speak about today. Because game is very much like, it comes with an ego. It does, whether we want to admit it or not. We want to come off as like this man. We want to go out and we want to fucking pimp it, right? We want to go out and swagger in the club and be like, yo, this girl's mine, and like fucking take her home and shit, right? Like that's the kind of image that we have when we get into this. That's kind of like the why, it's what we want. But the more you kind of experience this, is you start to realize that you need to take that away and learn to be vulnerable. And when I say vulnerable, I don't mean be a little bitch. There's a difference. Like, don't go up to a girl crying saying like, oh, girls are awful, they fucking suck, right? Like, that's not what it's about. Being vulnerable is about having a conversation with a stranger and letting her know your true self. Let her know your fears, your ambitions, your thoughts about family, what's important to you, that you wouldn't usually have with a stranger. This is the most important thing when it comes to building a lasting connection when you want a girl to fucking see you again, is that you want to make something different, right? You don't want the girl to think like, okay, this is another guy, right? You want her to think like, I can't believe we spoke about that. Like the whole D&M thing is true. Like you wanted to experience that. And so how do you do it? You start to be vulnerable. You start to have conversations that are a little bit left of field, that aren't like, where are you from? What do you like to drink? What's your favorite music? What else do we say? I don't know. But make them a little bit more intense. And the reason you know you're going to hit that spot is because the girl will feel uncomfortable. And it's a weird word to use, is like try and make the girl feel uncomfortable. You kind of think you're like, what the fuck maybe? But this is not comfort game, right? This is connection game. The girl needs to feel a sense of like, I don't usually do this. This is different, right? I don't usually talk about this. I don't usually share this with someone. But it's different with this guy. I trust him, right? And so the way you start that is by being vulnerable. Let her know sort of your feelings and your... next one. Fucking, I don't think it's going to play, so it's all good. Don't worry. It's basically infield. So I'll post it up, it's fine. It's me and this girl that I met on sort of Bondi Beach. We'd known each other for 20 minutes at this point, and I've already pulled her to a cafe. And we were talking about, like, the thing that I like to bring up, to bring this vulnerability about, is past relationships. I love talking about relationships. It's kind of, I love the psychology behind it. I spoke to her about her past. And the reason you start to build a connection, you start to get deeper with a girl, is because she won't want to talk about it. She'll say, like, no, like, I don't usually talk about this. She'll say, like, no, we're in a club. Like, what the fuck, right? And that's when you've hit the level. I mean, some girls, like, they're used to talking about a bunch of shit with guys, right? Some are not even happy telling you how many siblings they have, right? There's different levels. But once you hit that level of the girl being like, yo, I don't want to talk about this, that's your sweet spot. That's when you know you've hit the right spot, right? And this is what you say. You say, look, I get it, right? Especially in night game. Like a lot of girls come up to me, and they do. They want to have boring conversations. They want to know this superficial shit about like what drink I like, or what music I'm into. I don't really care about that. Like I think you're interesting, and I actually want to get to know you, and I want to find out if you're cool or not. And look, like if you want to have like a conversation like that, I get it. Like I'll introduce you to like, there's a bunch of guys here. Like what about that guy? He seems cool. I'll introduce you to him, come. And like as you say that, the girl's going to be like, no, it's fine. And it's an old school like room destroyer, right? Like now she's like subconscious or even like consciously said like, no, I don't want to speak to anyone else, I want to speak to you. And what you've also done is you've built this ultimatum of we're either going to talk about something interesting and about something meaningful, or you can go, right? But you've already built attraction by this point. You've already isolated, you're already bringing it like, so she's going to want to stay. She's going to keep those emotions going. And so now you're going to start sharing stuff on a deeper level, right? And so the infield is basically this girl that I just met, and I asked her about her past relationships, and again, she was like, no, I don't want to talk about my ex-boyfriend. And I pushed a little more, and I kind of made her sort of feel comfortable about talking about it. And she basically like shared these really deep emotions about how her ex-boyfriend actually had a heart attack, and he's currently in a coma. But just before that happened, she broke up with him, and she felt like super guilty about it. She felt like she kind of let him down, and that even though she broke up with him in the moment, she probably didn't mean it, but it's kind of too late now. And she kind of shared these feelings with me. And like when a girl shares to that extent, it builds that connection. Like a girl that shares stuff like this and continues to share stuff like this, the next day they're not going to wake up and be like, oh, it's that guy, whatever, right? She's going to wake up and be like, yeah, I want to fucking see this guy again. So that's the difference. Qualify her. So we all remember the sort of qualifying exercise we had. And it's super fucking important. So I kind of asked, like, was it superficial or was it deeper when you guys qualified each other? The reason being is qualifying can make all the fucking difference, right? And this is why you need to know what you want. Because you can truly congruently say to the girl, I like you because, and you know why. So I had a girl once where I met her in like Macca's, 3 a.m. Fucking gutter game. So I was hitting on her like older sister, and she's like, I've got a boyfriend. It's like, fine, introduce me to your younger sister. And she was like super attractive, like fucking hot, like amazing. And we spoke like 5 minutes. And usually I wouldn't number close after 5 minutes. It's like, it's fucking flake central, right? Like, what's the point? And so we actually started some of this connection stuff. So even in 5 minutes, I fucking just went straight into it. We started talking about family. And to be honest, I don't actually quite remember what else we spoke about. But it was like an interesting, deep conversation. And I said to her, I was honest. I was like, look, usually I wouldn't fucking like get your number right now. I wouldn't. I go, even if I did get your number, I probably wouldn't message you because it seems like a waste of time to me. I don't even know you. But for some reason, like, you actually seem cool. And I actually like talking to you and I actually want to get to know you more. And she's like, yeah, cool. Like, she pulls out a phone. And I was like, no. Like, cut the shit. I'm like, you're just going to give me the number, but like, are you actually want to see me again? Like, I just don't want to get your number. Like, what's the point? Like, do you actually want to see me again? Do you actually want to continue this? And she kind of like waited a moment and thought about it. It was like, yeah, I do, right? This was a girl that I dated for like 4 months while I was in Sydney. And I'll talk about feedback later, but I actually spoke to her and I was like, why? Why did you want to see me again? Why did you want to meet up? And she basically spoke about qualification. She said, like, every guy always says, like, she's hot. Every guy. Every guy is like, you're hot, I want to see you again. You're beautiful, right? Like, even family, friends, everyone. Like, the reason supermodels are insecure is because they always have this massive standard of everyone thinking they're hot, right? It's a reason that, like, girls that we look at and, like, you're so fucking beautiful can have anorexia and be bulimic. It's because we continually tell them how hot they are. And it sets this, like, standard that they feel they have to meet. Suddenly, she had this guy saying, look, yeah, you're hot, but I like talking to you. I like getting to know you. This is what I like about you. And it was for that reason alone that she wanted to meet me again. So qualification is super important. when you're qualifying a girl, like, yeah, do the whole you're fun and friendly, like, yeah, cool, whatever. But like, really look at your list and say, like, I really like how caring you are. I really like that, you know, when you talk about your family, your kind of face lights up. And I can see you really care about them. You know, use this as a, like, it's hard talking about like Outergame like this, but it's a technique, but it's like, it comes from the right place, right? So yeah, always qualify her based on sort of what you're after. Thanks, bro. Empathise. So this is something you need to learn by being around women a lot. So I used to do nursing, like all my friends were fucking girls, right? Like, talk about empathise, man. Like, I would know fucking like makeup products, like fucking manicures and shit. Like I could empathize like nobody else. And it's super important. Like if you show a girl that you get it, right? If you show a girl that you know where she's come from and you know what she's about, then that's connection. If she can look at you and be like, you know me and you like me, it makes a huge difference. So I mean, it's a hard point to talk about with you guys, but the takeaway of this is like, have girls as friends as well. You know what I mean? Have them in your social circle. Get to know them. Get feedback. Ask what they, you know, what they're about. Learn to empathize with girls. Become a part of a social circle. So I kind of popped this in last minute because I think it's something that's not talked about a lot in game. We're kind of taught to deal with the objections of the friends, right? We're kind of taught to get it to a level where the friends are like, yeah, we're cool with you taking my friend home, right? But we're not actually taught about being a part of their fucking social circle. Like when I meet a girl, I make a true effort to get to know her friends. Like I will add them on fucking social media and be like, yeah, cool. When you're in Sydney, you need to check out this place. Like message me, I'll let you know about it, right? Like really become a part of that. And like the next point, you can click it, is like about having that we frame. And it's not just the we frame with the girl. Like it's not just about like, you know, the whole like, you guys probably want to know this shit, like the storytelling, like fucking the you know, getting engaged during the night and fucking, you know, us against them. It's make the we about the social circle. Bring the girls in, bring the friends in, have them involved. If you have a girl where her friends like, you have to see that guy again. Mark's awesome, we love him. Like you better fucking see him again. Like it's like reversing that social pressure. You know what I mean? It's making the girls like a part of your team. It's helping them facilitate the pool. It's helping them see you again. So when it comes to like the girls, don't see them as obstacles. See them as like your allies, your friends in this. You know what I mean? Like become a part of that social circle. So the next part is like having sex, right? A lot of guys will like message me and be like, yo, so, you know, I spent the night with this girl, like we hung out the whole time and like now she flaked on me, like what should I do? I was like, you should have had sex with her, right? Like how to reduce flakes, have sex with her. If you build a physical connection with a girl, it really solidifies that emotional one. You want to build attachment, you want to build connection, have sex with her. We talked about being vulnerable, right? And you can hit the next point. Being vulnerable is really about like, when a girl has sex, that's usually when she's at her most vulnerable during the night. It really is. She can talk about her feelings, she can talk about her family, she can talk about like her fears and what upsets her, but like when you have sex with someone, that's when they're vulnerable. So pillow talk, right? There's a lot of guys in the community that are of the belief like, no, you need to set boundaries, right? I don't like, this was casual, it's like fun. Maybe I want to see her and maybe I don't. So like, I'm going to like game her all up into the point that we fuck, and they're going to be like 10 seconds to leave the big brother house, you know what I mean? Like get the fuck out, right? Don't treat girls like shit after you have sex with them, right? Some guys are worried, like I get it, you come from a good place, like you don't want to lead this girl on, but be congruent with yourself during the night. You know, I come from a frame that I'm like, the girls know that I fuck around, right? I don't hide that. When they're like, do you do this often? Yes, I do this often. I'm out most fucking nights, right? Be congruent with yourself. Let the girl know what's up. But when it comes to like this whole idea after sex, don't fucking be a dick and kick the girl out, man. Like this is the time where you can really actually have a proper conversation with her. Like I use this as a chance to get feedback. I lay down in bed after we've had sex when we're both at our most vulnerable and I say, what did you think when you first met me, right? Now, I will tell you the one reason I got really good at game is because my best coach were women, right? I would lay there in bed and be like, what did you think when you first met me? Now, you got to be careful. Some girls find it hard to put their emotions into words, but it's super important. Like, the girls will tell you what they liked about you. The girls will tell you if you're too touchy, if you're too full on, if you're not man to woman enough. Like, they will give you all the feedback you fucking need, right? Like, ask them.
What did you think when I first came up to you?
I don't know, you just scared me.
Scared the fuck out of you. And then you fell in love afterwards. That happens. That happens. Just.
And what this does is, we always talk about like, we want to build a connection in a small time. So like, guys always say like, move around the club, like go get a water, go to the dance floor, move around. It makes it feel like it's a long adventure, a good time, right? And it's true. Like the other night I went fucking swimming in the beach with some chick, right? Like that creates this idea of a time frame being longer than it is. You've done a bunch of different stuff with her. What adds to that is if you look back on the time. If you sit there and you're like, yeah, what did you think when you first met me, right? It feels like you've known each other for ages. You're talking about your past already. So it does a few things in that sense. But the most important thing is you're getting feedback from the girl. The second thing is, if you want to see this girl again, and if you want to have amazing sex, it comes down to communication. You can now tell a girl what you like, what you don't like, what you prefer. We mentioned before, like Seal likes going down on girls with their period. Like, if you don't talk about that, like it's never going to happen, right? So you need to have that communication. You need to get that feedback. Now we'll talk about setting boundaries. So as I mentioned, regardless what you want from this, regardless whether you want casual kind of sex, regardless whether you want like fuck buddies, regardless whether you want a relationship, whether you want marriage, connection is important. But you need to set boundaries about what you want. If this girl's fucking leaving the country tomorrow and you're both like just having casual sex, it's cool, it's fine, right? You can be congruent with that. But what you don't want to do is lead the girl on and create these like really poor frames. You don't want to tell her like, no, I never go out. This is my first time out. You're the first girl I've ever spoken to. You're so amazing. I love you. And then be like fucking 8. You know what I mean? I've seen guys that like, they have like 4 or 5 girls that they're seeing and they tell them all they're exclusive, right? Now, does that lead to happiness? Like, wait till you see this guy out of the club with one of his girls. Like, they're not having fun, bro. This guy is like fucking looking around if there's like any other girl around that might fucking know him. Like, you create this really toxic vibe. And to be honest, like once you set boundaries with these girls, as I said here, you want her happiness more than you need her, right? So what does that mean? You're happy to let her go. If this is not what she's into, you're happy for her to move on. Now, for the most part, if you tell a girl like, this is what I'm about, and regardless of what it is, whether it's a relationship, casual sex, fuck buddies, if you say, this is what I'm about, you don't have to say, but if you show this is what I'm about. She then has a choice of whether she wants this or not. And if she doesn't, that's fine. She can move on, right? Happy days. But most of the time, because you've built that connection, because you built that attraction, because you built that attachment, she'll want to stay around. She'll want to be with you. But you need to, you need to have those boundaries. All right. So what we offer. So I just want to have a quick chat to you guys about sort of our new Facebook group, which is our Ultimate Man project. So as I mentioned, it's kind of fairly new. We sort of broke up our last team. But essentially, like when we talk about why, I kind of want to tell you guys why I got into this. And the reason being is that like I was kind of like part-time coaching for a long time. Saul was one of my good buddies, and every time we were out, he's like, please, man, just come coach. Like, please, like, help out. I was like, yeah, cool, man. Like, it's fine. So, like, I'd help out. And I really loved, like, I was a nurse before this, and I loved that job. Like, I always loved the idea of helping others, you know what I mean? It's really, nursing to me is still something that I was really strongly, like, affiliate with. And so I was never going to leave it. I was like, never. Like, this is my thing. Like, nursing is, like, my passion. It's what I found. It's my why. It's what I'm going to do. And as I coached and coached more, I saw students like Sam, who's my boy. Saw students like Sam, who came on program, and he's probably going to hate me saying this, but like, he was super fucking awkward. Like, he came into this program and was like jittery, shy. We were in front of like 5 guys, and we just wanted to know your story. Like, why are you here? And he found it physically hard to express that. He found it physically hard to just share his story in front of 5 guys. Not only share his story, he found it hard to listen to other stories. He was like fidgeting and shit, like super shy. And And at this point, Seal was actually coaching this, and I looked at Seal and I was like, bro, what the fuck? I was like, sometimes you have hard cases, but I was like, this is tough. Like, I was worried, honestly, about offering value to him. I was like, I hope we can help him. I really do. And 2 weeks passed, and he came in for debrief. And he walked in, and it was a different person. It really was. Like, he came in with a fucking, do you know what I talked about before with the fucking swagger and with like in-the-game shit? Like, he came in and was just like fucking loving life. He came up and was like high-fiving me and shit, like took a seat, took up space, and we spoke about the last 2 weeks. And it was actually really incredible. And it got emotional, right? Like, I was fucking emotional. Like, it was amazing to see that he didn't just get good at game. Like, he fucked some girls, right? Like, on program. He got over some, like, insecurities and stuff like that, right? But he was a different person. He went back to his family and friends, and they didn't fucking recognize him, right? He had a transformation. And when I started seeing more and more of this, I thought, this is actually more fulfilling than nursing. This is, I think, my why. This is what I want to do. And I truly believe in that. Like, I truly believe that when we have guys on program, it's about really making that difference. And so when it comes to like the circle, it's like, how do we do it, right? So I really want to offer the best that we can. So there's 3 of us. Like, we're all very much sort of out of game. We want to teach you how to go up to a girl and how to captivate her. How to walk up and how to open so she's fucking staring at you and fucking like, who is this guy? Like, why is he so grounded? We want you to be able to deal with objections. We want you to be able to, when a girl's like, oh no, I'm with my friends, we want you to be able to flip that on them, right? We want you to get to a point where you're the prize, where the girl like looks at you and you're the one giving the objections. You're like, oh, I don't know, I got work in the morning, maybe not, right? We want you to be the fucking prize. And we want to teach you how to do that. And there's the way we want to see it is we don't want this to be a pick-up boot camp, right? We want it to be something where we can really fucking change you. So what we're doing is we're bringing in like a sex coach. We're bringing in like an NLP coach. We're bringing in a fitness coach. We really want to change like every aspect of your game. Like when it comes to inner game, like this guy's like fucking 92 years old or some shit. He's like, he's been like fucking doing NLP and like sort of changes people's view on life for like fucking 20, 30 years or some shit. So, that's what we want to offer. We want to fucking get you to the point, like people like Sam, where at the end of 2 weeks, people aren't going to recognize you. You're going to go back to your fucking life. People are going to be like, who the fuck is this pimp? Like, why is he so fucking confident? So that's kind of what we want to offer. And obviously, like our boot camp. So we got some in like Sydney, Budapest, LA, and things like that. So anyone, feel free to hit me up on Facebook or Alex or Pierre, and we'll have a chat to you guys and sort of talk about it further. Yeah, so if you have any questions about sort of building connection-wise important or just anything to do with the game, happy to fucking answer them. My man.
Yeah, what I mentioned the last years where you get like really close with a girl and share all the stories and shit like that. After you broke up with her, it's like fucking hard for her and for you as well.
Yeah.
Is there any way to get around this?
Dude, so this is great. This is actually one of the things I fucking cut out, so you're my man right now. So a lot of times people talk about self-confidence, yeah? They talk about inner game, and they talk about really being grounded in yourself and really having this strong sense of self, right? So the idea is that if you have really good self-confidence, no external factors should bother you, right? That's what really good self-confidence is. So like, if you go up to a girl and you're like, hey, how you doing? And she's like, fuck off. You're like, doesn't bother me, right? I've got good self-confidence, doesn't matter. The issue is if you're like dating a girl for 3 years and she's like, look, the person you've become is not what I'm after. The person who you are is like not what I want. It's really unhealthy to be like, yeah, no worries, see you, bye, and like not feel anything. Like that's not being a human, you know what I mean? Like if your fucking best mate dies tomorrow, I don't want you to be like, self-confidence right here, man, grounded, don't give a fuck, right? There's a difference, there's a line. So it's hard to describe and it's hard to sort of vocalize, but there is a balance. You do want self-confidence in the fact that like, you're not going to let people that don't know you affect you, right? You're not going to let them affect your happiness. If they're basing their data off 20 seconds you open, they don't like your open, bro. That's it. Like maybe you weren't fucking, maybe your body language wasn't on point. Maybe you didn't make eye contact. That's what they didn't like. They didn't like you. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking. So don't let that upset you. But yeah, for sure, man. Like it's completely healthy to be hurt after a relationship. Like, and the whole like, what is it? Better to have loved than lost bullshit, right? Like it's true, man. Like if you go through life not wanting to build connections with people because you're worried about getting hurt, you're never going to be happy. I can tell you that right now. You're never going to. You see guys in game. You do. You see guys in game that have been in game for fucking years, man, and they don't get hurt by that shit. They're also not happy, right? So allow yourself to feel connections with people, man. Like I have a mate in Sydney that calls it like love game, right? It's like a bit over the top, but it's like allow yourself to like have that feeling. And it's like, dude, it's so much more fun. Like when I go out in a night, like I mean it when I tell a girl that sex isn't important to me. Like I actually enjoy that journey of like getting to know someone new. And even guys, like there's a bunch of you that I met this fucking like week, like including Alex, man. They're like, we go through the process of actually getting to know each other. And it's fun and it's cool and you get to know someone, man. Whereas if you just go through life thinking like, no, I don't want to get hurt. Don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. You won't get hurt, man. For sure, you won't get hurt. You also won't be happy. So it's about finding the balance. Yeah, my man.
How would you say that somebody can build this inner game and self-confidence that you're speaking about?
Yeah, so the question was like, how do you build inner game and self-confidence? How do you become grounded? So my view is a little bit different, I think. So one of the ways I go about it that is a little different to, I think, everyone else is I believe that your outer game influences your inner game and vice versa. So to really feel confident and successful, you need to have success. So there are guys that can go up and open, right? It's fine. Like you can tell them like, hey man, you got this. You're the best. Like go open. They go like completely uncalibrated, like, hey, what's up? And they're like, fuck off, okay. Right? And you're like, don't worry, man, you're the best. You're awesome. You're amazing. They're like, yeah, I am. Go up and like, hey, you're blowing out again. You're like, fuck, you're awesome, man. The way I kind of see it is like, if I teach you like, hey man, next time you go up, just like look at her in the eyes, be a bit more relaxed. Like maybe tell her you have to go in a sec, right? Make her feel a bit more comfortable. And then they go and do that and the girl's receptive, right? Now you're able to show yourself, right? You're able to let her know who you are. Maybe she likes that. And now you can come back and you can be like, fuck, maybe I am fucking good enough. Maybe I am worth it, right? So there's that side of it that I really like to focus on. Then there's the other side of like, as I talked about your why, like some people have abandonment issues, right? Some people like they've been treated like shit for girls for ages and they've got these like inner issues that they're dealing with. And so that, in itself is a huge topic and needs to be dealt with. And so from our point of view, that's why we're bringing guys in. Like, we want to get like a NLP coach to come and like specifically teach this shit. You know what I mean? But that's how I kind of view it. Yeah, my man.
When you talk about the deep qualification, exchange something non-physical about the girl that you like, about her.
Yeah.
How do you do it without coming across as sneaky or manipulative? Like she can, sometimes she doesn't take it seriously. Or it appears like weird or...
Yeah.
Or,
Sweet as, man. So tell me from the question is, how do I qualify the girl without sounding like I'm being fake about it? Is that kind of it? Yeah. Yes. So this is when it comes, do you remember I said write that list?
Yes.
You're qualifying her based on that list, right? If she matches nothing on your list, why the fuck are you talking to her, right? If this is a girl that you're not into, then don't qualify her. Find someone that you're into, right? So,
qualify genuinely, but she still, it seems like ironic, like not,
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. It's like sometimes the girl will be so into you that she has inner game problems. Like she doesn't think she's good enough, right? Like I've had girls that like, I've been like, hey, you're really cool. I want to hang out with you some more. And she's like, no, you don't. You're just saying that, right? Like she's insecure. And so the way you do that is by, if you're being congruent with your list, if you're being congruent with what you really fucking mean, then you can actually go up to her and be like, no, for real. Like you can look at her and be like, for real, this is actually what I look for in someone. This is actually what I like. So you just need reassurance, man. Like the same way guys, you know what I mean? Guys won't feel like they're good enough sometimes and they just need a little bit of reassurance. Like, no, man, you are. And so it's the same with the girl. Like sometimes you're right, man. Like you will like qualify her and she'll still be like, no, I'm not good enough for you. Like, no, and it's, to be honest, it's not that common. But if you face that, man, you just need to reassure her. And like, if you're being congruent, the girl feels that, man. They do. Like you can, as I said, like you can sometimes qualify girls on shit that like you don't give a fuck about and they will know. But if you're being congruent and you can reassure her, then it's fine. It's no issue. Yeah,
question. So you talked a lot about like being vulnerable and kind of like expressing your true self.
Yeah.
Like I have trouble kind of seeing like how to make that transition from like the regular beginning of bullshit between like, hey, my name's this, so I like this shit. You know, kind of like really shallow. Yeah. And automatically go into.
Yeah.
You know, like,
so this is a super common question. Guys are like, especially like, how do I sexualize? Like, how do I skip the conversation to that? Like, and you know, the same thing. Like, how do I switch the conversation to something deep? Like, you know, you don't need a good transition. Like, you can just sit there and be like, yo, I'm curious. Like, tell me about your past relationships. Yo, I'm curious. Tell me about your family. Right? The girl's never going to be like, oh, actually, there was no good transition point there. There was nothing we were actually talking about. There was like, you can honestly like just fucking cut the thread. Like, we talk about this cutting the thread. It's because like, you want to talk about, like, you need to hold the frame. You need to talk about what you want to fucking talk about. And if you want to be vulnerable, if you want to do that, then do it, right? And hold that frame. Like, very rarely, a girl might be like, oh, like, where did that come from or something? You'd be like, yeah, I'm curious. I just want to know. I just want to talk about that. And as I spoke about before, she's like, oh, I'm not comfortable. Then, you know, you can use what I said before. But you're right. Like, you don't, in our mind, it sounds fucking weird. In our mind, it's like, this is not logical. Like, we went from here to here. What the fuck? But in the girl's mind, she doesn't care, bro. It's very emotional. In a girl's mind, she's like enjoying that conversation with you, and you've brought up a new topic that you're interested in, you want to talk about, and she'll go along with it. You just need to hold that frame. Yeah, there's no dramas. So, and it's like when you become vulnerable, I find it's easy to pick a topic that you're happy being vulnerable about. For me, as I said, I love talking about past relationships. Like, that's something I'm super interested in. For you, it might be family, right? For you, it might be like your ambitions. Maybe you're like very business-minded. You want to know about the girl's ambitions. Like, maybe that's super important to you. All right, I think that's it. We're going to get kicked off. All right, thanks, guys.